Sorry, my memory card filled up, so I've just had to move the file across. I'll have to edit this onto it now. Right, so, and then we've got Courtroom 3, Mrs. Caseby, Justice of the Peace, Mr. Cole, Justice of the Peace, District Judge MC Corey, and then Mr. Jacob, Justice of the Peace. That's strange. Why would the District Judge be with Justices of the Peace? I thought you get 3 Justices of the Peace or a District Judge. So 1, 2, 3. So you've got 3. You've got Caseby, Cole, with Corin and Jacob. That's 4 of them. He also tells you on the right hand side, they're all first hearings, these. Except the top one has got priority or trial. So there's 2 trials with a district judge. Abdi Sayed. They're an actual trial with a district judge. And then you get, these are just hearing. They're having a hearing with the Justices of the Peace to hear. But then you've got a district judge in with it. Oh no, sorry. Hold on a minute. So Greaves, McLaughlin and Smith are all doing hearings, right? The district judge has got 2 trials. And then down here, we've got Mrs. Caseby, Cole and Jacob, 3 Justices of the Peace, with district judge having first hearings. First hearing or first hearing. Further case management. So we've got Mr. Chandler, Mrs. Hannay, and Mrs. Phelps, JP. So they're 3 justices doing case management. Mention, defendant. That's like a mention hearing. You see, I actually ended up getting... when you start getting into things like these mentions and hearings and further case management, you start racking up money if you're going to lose, because if you start... This is the thing why, you don't need to be a barrister and you don't need to be a solicitor to represent yourself, but this is what happens if you don't know what you're doing. The guy that was on Verbs the other day, that Jonathan Doe, he knew what he was doing because he studied it all and he won. But with me, I kind of knew what I was doing, but I don't think I had the confidence or with when you go in there, and I find that proceedings misleading, and also it's a little bit like, when you're button bashing on a computer game, you kind of know what the moves are and you can do some special moves or do some things, but unless you know all the controls properly, it's either fluke or partial luck or a bit of like you kind of know what you're doing. The thing with being admitted to the bar and being educated in law is that you've been taught all the processes and procedures, so you know how to give directions and make sure that you get heard and everything gets understood, and there's all options of processes. Although some people are more adept at you putting all the procedures to best use, some people don't really make use of all the available processes and procedures that are available. The thing is, if you sort of kind of know what you're doing and you can do a few things like, request it be adjourned or other certain things, like, I was trying to get the Crown Prosecutor to accept undertakings, but they wouldn't. They refused to. But I knew that you could, submit undertakings, and so forth, which are basically agreements that the prosecutor will undertake certain tasks or jobs or look into certain things or so forth. If you start having new hearings, what you're doing is you're racking up expenses, court expenses and time. So if you kind of like sort of start giving directions successfully and start doing things, but you don't end up winning, or you kind of give up later on or something like that, then you're in trouble, because then it's going to cost a lot of money, because it can cost you thousands because of all the different hearings and time you got to pay for. Now, also remember that that's what happened with the parking. Not parking, seatbelt. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. So you didn't get any points on your license, but you had to pay a fine for not wearing your seatbelt. This was in Preston, right? And I'm like, well, I have to wear the seatbelt anyway. So you don't actually legally have to wear the seatbelt in a delivery vehicle. And there's some discrepancy over the law, what the law actually is through the old legislation, and that there was some mistakes made in writing the law. You actually don't have to wear it. And when they say, you only have to wear it for a certain distance, that actually isn't in the legislation. It's only in the guidance. And then how they even made the legislation, it goes back to vehicles delivering in certain areas, like if you're delivering milk in a village, and so forth. It all comes down to what the word local area means. That's what it meant in the local area. Not a specific set distance. And then in the actual law, in the wording of it, it was referring to, it meant what it meant originally, and it got misconstrued, and people have been believing it to mean like, in the guidance, they started to say this specific distance, but there are two acts of law for the seatbelts. The seatbelt legislation is in two acts. And one of the acts has precedence over the other act. In fact, it's copied from it. And the one that has precedence is the wording on it comes down to the original law. And what the original law is, it is the local area. If you are delivering in a local vicinity, and that's what the law comes down to. And I was trying to prove that, but it didn't matter, because I was investigating illegal road signage anyway for policing purposes, so I don't have to wear it. So there was multiple laws in effect, and I kept getting these hearings and so forth, and they weren't having it, these justices of the peace, and I really couldn't be bothered with them, because it's a chore. It's kind of like sometimes even, if your parents don't understand something, you could be sat with them and you just end up getting into an argument, and it could be simple, but they just don't understand it. It literally comes down to that, basically. And, eventually, I just kind of like, I submitted all the material and I didn't turn up. And because I'd had quite a few hearings, it ended up costing £1,000 or something for court costs, because I lost, Yeah, obviously that Jonathan Doe guy from Birmingham, well, he's actually from in between Tamworth and Coventry area, Nuneaton, sorry. He won. He won his case because he was like, well, I did all the paperwork and I got everything clarified. But the thing is, he got all these different. It was in Birmingham, his case, wasn't it? Mine was in Preston, and a bit further for me to travel than what he had to do to Birmingham. I don't know. I think that when it's clear in writing and it's very clarified, and it's like how stupid can you be? It's like, but obviously I should have gone in. And sometimes, people don't have the, if you're not sharp, you need to have brain fog and be super clarified for working courts, because it all comes down to one day in one session at one time. You got to be on the ball and sharp. And, you know, prosecutors are comfortable. That's their job. It's their natural environment. Same with lawyers, and it's not ours. And therefore, it's a lot of pressure on a person to, you know, get all your documents, all your paperwork out, get them in a good order in front of you. Say, right, I'm going to make sure you've got. It's like when, you know, when you're in Parliament, you know, when Andrew Bridgen, he's reading it all off paper. In fact, he's like, oh, this is all going to go down in Hansard. You know, this is all going to be recorded in Hansard. Well, but it's already recorded. You've written down on a bit of paper what you're going to write. So, you know, it's pointless. You're just going through. What you're doing is it's like a play. It's like, you know, you've got a play and you're going to see a pantomime. It's all fully scripted. So, you know, you're just going there for the sake of it. You know, in Parliament now, Parliament's not organic anymore. It's not natural, unless when they ask, you know, Prime Minister questions, but he never really gives any proper answers. They're all evasive. So it's kind of like charades. You know, someone's prepared everything that he's going to say. He gets up, he's got like 10 sheets of paper, and he reads them all off one by one, word for word, and that goes into Hansard. So you might as well just, in fact, I won't be surprised if when they do the Hansard and print it, he gives them that, and then they just copy it in, and he said, well, I'll just read it off the sheet, rather than some woman sat there with, you know, one of those, you know, super fast typewriter machines typing it all down, you know. Some of the House of Lords stuff, when you read it, appears more natural and organic. You know, I beg to move. You know that. You know, I inspected the legislation, and we believe that. You know, it's, you know, it would be wise to slim down on justices of the peace. You know, everyone was a justice of the peace. You know, in the town council at one point, you know, they had justices of the peace in every council. And then they scrapped a lot of the justices of the peace. You know, the House of Lords, you know, at least comes across when you read it, although it's probably, you know, it seems a bit more opinionated rather than, you know, scripted. So, yeah, what's going on with this? That's it. That's all greyed out, that bit there. That's supposed to be... Further case management, pre-trial review, plea. Oh, look. But I thought people have got trials. Don't you enter your plea when you have a hearing? Whether you're going to plea, you're supposed to enter the plea in the hearing. Mention. These mentions are quite interesting because I wanted to try and get mention hearings so I could put certain things across. Mention and fix. Is that what they call them now? Fix. Mention defendant to attend. Attend. So this is... Oh, courtroom 5, District Judge Hammond. A lot of these are first hearings. Trials. So that's the second. I wonder why there's so many on the 6th. We'll see what it says. Hold on, what's happening now? What happened to Bromley? Barnstable, Beverley, Bexel, Bodmin, BQ. Oh, here it is. So it must only tell you on the day. So it's looking like it does give you the name of the justices on the actual day, updates it, and what type of trials and what's going on in each courtroom, which looks quite good actually. So that, I guess we'll have to wait till Monday, but he's not listed on there for Monday. So I don't know what's going on with it.